National Youth Council of Nigeria has commended President Bola Tinubu for brokering peace between FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. NYCN President Ambassador Saraibe Sokubo describes the reconciliation as a testament to Tinubu's leadership and commitment to national unity. He said the peace deal would pave the way for renewed development in Rivers State. The council urged the reinstatement of Fubara as governor and called for affected members of the Rivers State House of Assembly to be restored. Sokubo emphasized that political peace is essential for progress, especially in a state as economically strategic as Rivers State. He also encouraged youth and political actors nationwide to embrace dialogue and unity, noting that peace is the foundation of democracy and sustainable development. Joining us on Blowouts this morning to do justice to this topic is Victor Eniche, a socio-political analyst and a regular on Blowouts and Open Conversation as well. Good morning, Victor, and welcome.
Good morning, Loresha. Great to be here.
Thank you very much. Victor, as I was reading the story, your reaction was, I found your reaction quite interesting. So I want to know, why did you react the way you did?
Well, I did because I really don't know how to feel about,
About what?
Some statements, about the, the peace,
okay,
in quotes, peace, in Rivers State. I don't want to sound like I'm against, people coming together and reconciling their differences. What I am still yet to figure out is the value and the importance of why what has been done and how it's been done. When we say peace, what exactly is peace? I know there was no war in Rivers State. I know politicians had their differences. And congratulating or thanking Mr. President, for me, it's disappointing that in a state as big as Rivers State, no elder, no group could broker peace, in the state except the president. The question I would always ask is, because if there was disagreement and there's eventually an agreement, there's going to be a reason or things that have been done for that peace. What are these things? What we call terms and conditions. Because I don't believe any agreement comes without, these terms. What are the terms of this so-called agreement, and how does it benefit the state? Of course, in the coming days, we would see, the result of that. Sarah has been in Rivers State and out for a very long time. What are the efforts that, as a youth leader, did he put in place, or during the so-called crisis? What effort? I really think most of these statements are political statements, and the so-called peace in Rivers State, until I see result of it favoring the state, generally, I think I'm not super excited about it. Honestly.
Right. But okay, before I get back to you on why you're not super excited about it, Honourable Olaka, what do you make of the story? I mean, Honourable Olaka, you've been quite vocal during the Rivers State crisis. Your position in the crisis was not, it was visible to the blind and audible to the deaf. And at some point, you also called for political resolution to the entire matter. Now that the political resolution is here, what do you have to say?
Okay, I am not sure there is a political resolution yet.
What do we have then?
There is an agreement between two contenders on the sharing formula.
On the sharing formula?
Yes, and that's what I have just got to know as the new definition of peace in Rivers State. These vocabs we use is a borrowed language, and so we can conceptualize a particular word to mean a particular thing, to drive a point. So at this point, there is a need for a collaboration, because we were actually fighting over what we thought was ours. Two persons who had sway power were in a disagreement over our collective resources. Let me be very strict on it. And though no one actually said, this is what we are fighting for.
The governor said, the suspended governor said the crisis was over resources. The FCT minister said it was over structure.
I'm coming. As we made progress, we got to this point where you are talking about. At the point we heard about, it was the red biro they wanted. What was the red biro being used for? Yeah, of course, is to append and approve. At the other point, structure. What do you want to do with the structure? The people that will be in those places man the agencies and still control what the approvals from the red pen. So everything goes around our collective resources. And it wasn't about the two individuals as just individuals, but because they are entities, they represent an authority, as it were. And today, they are telling us that there is political settlement or, reconciliation. In the coming days, like my brother said, I'm sure Nigerians and indeed Rivers people will see how peaceful is that peace. We're going to be see, because it won't be long. You see a lot of cold feet. There's a misreaction in the air. And for Sokubo Sarebe, I don't know, but it may not even, what I'm going to say now may not even be part of what we are discussing. But then, I just think that the person who is even making the statement is another problem. How do you mean? Sarebe, how long has that man been youth president, NYSC? And what impact has this? Is it like he's now a sole administrator of youth? So he does stay in Abuja to commend the president. There is something Sarebe knows. This is about one of the first voices we are hearing, and then he's already commending the president. What is the interest of the president, and what was not his interest? We are not aware, or we are aware. The issues of come to my party and don't come to my party. Look, when where there are no issues, and for certain reasons or certain gain you think you want to get, and then you raise issues and then come back again to solve the same issue, or pretend to have solved the same issue, and then people start hailing you for a particular reason. We'll get to that part of the river. When we get there, I'm sure we will all see. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not sure there is true peace in the essence of peace. You are going to see, or currently you're seeing a lot of persons pretentiously thanking Fubara for surrendering. Some are saying it is now he has actually taken the advice of what he was supposed to do, to go and beg his Oga. It is about Oga and his boy and all of that. How about Rivers people? We're talking about peace, and the governor is coming to tell the people who rose up in his defense at the time when Rivers people thought that this is the man that had been voted and had been sworn in and had the legitimate powers to control our resources and be our head, that there are some kind of oppression, there are some kind of a shift from what should be. No, let us do it this way and let Godfatherism slow down and let's see how we can move. And then some of these persons now, you are now asking them, who sent you? I hear you are doing this, and look, I don't want to hear all those names. Look, if you are standing for me, come now. Forget your ambition and all of those statements. You will see self is now playing out, and that is the real thing.
Was there any time it wasn't about self, if we had to go back?
Yes, there were times where when the same mouth said, if someone is going to die, let it be on record that I, Fubara, died for Rivers State.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
That was the eve of the 30th October, when the supposed blast was done at the assembly complex and all of that. Look, these individuals have not known that Rivers State is bigger than their personal interests. Rivers State is not about what they are to gain or to control, but it should be about our development. Currently, we've been on standstill. Currently, almost all the projects that was supposed to be running are being on standstill. You can see how slow, or let's say the kind of slow pace the ring road is taking. At a point, the ring road project was already moving at a very fast lane where we could just connect. But today, if you get to even Uzoba here, you'll see what they are doing there. Nothing is actually happening, but people are just back and forth. The environment is so polluted and so dirty. You can't, nothing meaningful is happening because of personal greeds and personal interests. So for me, Rivers State, Nigeria president, and the thank you chains of award that is coming, because a lot of groups are already probably planning more thank you and more award for Mr. President. I would suggest the slow down, because the real thing is just about to begin.
When you say the real thing, what do you mean? What are you anticipating?
The fact that we're only trying to, we're living, now what was the reason for the absence of peace that necessitated the state of emergency? That means there was crisis, there are issues that even went to courts, and there are a lot of legal statements, judgments and all that here and there, and all of a sudden all of those issues surrounding plethora of cases have all died a natural death. The usual weekly judgments and counter judgments from courts are no longer coming. Nobody is going to court anymore. The judges who and the lawyers who always run around every now and then you see Ishoko Court has issued this, Federal High Court
probably
has issued
because
this,
Supreme Court has given judgment, so, and you can't give.
And even after the Supreme Court have given judgment, there were still cases. There were still cases until the state of emergency was declared. And of course, the state of emergency never affected the judiciary.
Yep.
But surprisingly, nobody knows their way to court anymore since then. But in the coming days, we will see how peaceful
this peace
would be. So I am at the moment, outside describing the peace with the new formula, which I just said, new definition, that it is the formula that is talking about agreement between two parties on sharing formula of rivers resources. The other side of the peace I see is that the peace symbolizes an ice block. That kind of ice block you pick from the deep freezer. It is cold, yet you can't chew. You pick a block, you pick an ice block. It is supposed to suit you, it's supposed to calm you. But you can't chew it because you're going to have an ache directly on your tooth and eventually to your brain. So it's going to be discomforted. And if you try to hold that ice block for some time, let's say 5-10 minutes, and then drop it, the blood circulation will have some problem, to the extent that you can't use your bare hands very well until the blood flow circulates back. That is the nature of peace we are trying to describe in Rivers State. It is a very cold yet hot peace. So our leaders on both sides who are painting the picture that there is peace, they should better tell us how peaceful this peace is going to be and how long we should expect it to last.
Right.
Because the reconciliation, from body language and all that we're seeing what looks like should I call it what do these hip hop or musicians say? They say either replay or something, reloaded. That's 7 points
remix,
reconciliation remix or reloaded. That's exactly what has just come back.
All right.
And so I pray for Rivers State. I pray for the people who were running around the both parties as their supporters and their henchmen. I pray for them. Let the true peace in its nature and let true reconciliation happen, probably with what they have just shown us, because it's not, and it can never only be about Fubara and Wike. It's not about them alone. Thank you.
Very well. Victor, before we move on to the next story, we wanted to say something.
Yeah, just, I mean, a brief, he said a lot, and mix of truths and fact and obvious that he has said. I just want to say that anytime I see this news, I don't know how I feel. I actually don't feel any specific kind of way.
All right.
I feel indifferent. There's nothing, I'm not excited, I'm not sad. I just feel like it's a process that has been going on. There's no change. There's no change. The one thing I want to point out, which is an unfortunate one, is the fact that we've been made to see a depleted office of the governor of Rivers State. It has not happened at all. We have not seen a position where a governor of Rivers State has been shown to be weak. We've always seen an underdog story for the Rivers State government, that no matter how weak you are, once you get to that position, the symbol of the first person, the governor of the Rivers State, is usually very respected, and across the nation, not just in Rivers State. It was unfortunate that it has been whittled down with what has happened. And I when we say peace, I'm looking at how and if and when we're going to see the prestige of the governor of Rivers State, or the office of governor of Rivers State, come back to what we know it to be. But as for now, up Wike. That is what it is. It seems Wike is the governor. We know that, yes, before now, of course, as the person that, the godfather of the governorship, he has a major role to play. But right now, we know that he has the role to play, and Sim is, unfortunately, with due respect to the, suspended governor, he's like what's the word now? My English is failing me, but it's not as strong. So what we know now is that we're certain that most of the decisions that will be taken by the governor of the state is not going to be completely his decision. So we cannot really hold him accountable for his actions from now on. So I think we have to hold the Minister of the FCT accountable for most of the decisions that will be taken from now on in Rivers State.
Right. Interesting
Which
point.
Is unfortunate.
Interesting point right there.